Welcome to Earthly Goods. My name is Keisha, and I'll be your host today. And I'm here today with Philbert Bailey, Evangelist Philbert Bailey, Preacher Philbert Bailey, Pastor Philbert
Quite a
Bailey,
few titles.
and now DJ X-Treme, DJ Philbert Bailey, who's now transitioned into recording music. And we're interested.
Absolutely.
We don't want to know more about him. We want to know why he's taking this step. And we want to try to see if we can get to know the man behind all of these titles.
It's fine with me.
I'm happy you're here today. Thank you for coming.
I'm very happy to be here, Keisha. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So we're going to just ask you some questions, try to get to know you. I hope you're ready to be open.
Absolutely. I am open for the most part.
Okay, a little vulnerability.
Vulnerability is good.
Okay, well, and I know there's a lot that people want to know, so we're going to just jump into it. So our first question today is, who is Philbert Bailey?
Who is Philbert Bailey? Philbert Bailey is a very simple person, I would like to say. I'm a father. I am a husband. I love the Lord. I love people. I strive to treat people the way I want to be treated. For the most part, I'm a very simple person. On a professional side, I am a teacher of the Word of God. I do preach the Word of God. The Lord has gifted me to do a lot of trainings and seminars and things to enhance the body of Christ. I work along within that area. I just started recording, so yes, now I am taking on the role of an artist. In a nutshell, that is what I would like to say for Philbert is.
What do your friends call you?
It depends on how close they are.
What are your close friends
Like
called?
my close friends call me Roger. If I hear somebody say Roger, I know that they're like my close friends, because my siblings call me Roger. Outside of that, my friends call me Philbert for the most part.
Who is Roger?
Roger is a brother. Roger is a son. Roger is a sibling. Roger is the, I would like to say, the true person behind all titles. Roger is me without any title. Roger is simply me.
So Roger is the person that you are when you're home with your children.
Roger is the person that I am when I'm home with my children. Roger is the person that I give to my family and my loved ones. Roger is me without the professional bells and whistles. Roger is the unprofessional me. Roger is the unstaged me.
Okay.
When I'm being Roger, I don't have to put on, because I'm around people that are like the core of my life. So Roger is me when the camera is off, if you may.
What inspired Mama's Cry?
Mama's Cry is a song that I wrote on, when I was about 12 years old. I saw this young man got killed. There was an altercation in Cuerva Gardens in Jamaica, and I saw this young man got shot, took a bullet to the head, and his mom was a Rastafarian woman, and she was in the middle of the street with him lying in her lap, and she was crying out to Jah, asking God please to stop the bleeding and stop the pain that her son was in. And that is something, a very graphic experience that stick with me from childhood.
How old were you?
I was about 12 at the time. I'm 40 years old now. So that has lived with me for quite a few years. And eventually I put pen to the paper and I wrote Mama Cry.
Out of 40 years of experience, why is that what you brought back?
I'm very inspired with all that is taking place right now, in the news, the shooting, the killing, the violence, the insensitive nature of mankind towards each other. And so Mama's Cry, obviously is a really violent incident that I witnessed, and I believe that the storyline of it is impacting to those that hear it. So I wrote on it.
I noticed the first two songs you released are centered around, like you said, senseless violence in a community. How has your experiences with tragedy shaped your perspective on living?
Well, I've had my own first-hand experience with violence. I was slashed 14 times while I was living in Kingston years ago, and left in the dirt to die. That has changed my life tremendously. It has left me in a position, I don't know if I want to say traumatized, because it was seemingly a mistaken identity type of thing that took place, and apparently this guy mistook me for somebody else and just attacked me. It gives you a level of discomfort with the public because you believe that a person could just look at you like that and just come out the blues.
When did you write your first song? And what was it about?
I wrote my first song when I was about 12, 13. It was just a little rhyme. It goes something like stick ding 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 stick ding 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 stick ding 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 stick ding 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 ding. Mister, listen to me, no woman. Mister, listen to me, no man. Intelligence come for rat the nation. Mister, listen to me, no woman. Mister, listen to me, no man. Intelligence come for rat the nation because the earth a go round and that a rotation. Think about something, concentration.
That was your first song.
That was the first song I wrote. So I was about 12 when I started writing, and at the time I wanted to be a DJ. I really wanted to be a DJ, but I never wanted to be a DJ for the right reasons.
What did we explain?
Well, now that I'm into this music. Now I'm into it to be a positive influence. At that time, it was about just writing lyrics and a lot of girls and money. Okay. You know, it wasn't a matter of, there was no moral to why I wanted to do it. It was just, I like it.
So do you feel like God purposely positioned you at this point to do it because you're in the right place where you can handle it, you're mature enough to handle the responsibility of carrying a message that's going to affect more than the people that you preach to on a Sunday morning?
Absolutely. I do believe that God has been strategic in the time that I'm doing this. And from the standpoint of maturity, I believe that it couldn't have happened at a better time. I think I'm at the right time of my life. I am mature enough to handle what comes with this at this particular time. So I do believe it's a good time for me.
What comes with this at this particular time?
There's a lot that comes with it, a lot of legalities, a lot of pressure. Of course, there are those that don't really understand what I'm doing, and some people think that I'm a preacher that's going into the dancehall world. I'm turning into a DJ, which is not at all what I'm doing. So, you know, it's only a matter of time, and people understand properly and they'll see the message. I'm very inspired by Bob Marley to remain positive, you know, looking at his career and what he brought to the table, and not just to our nation, Jamaica, but globally. He really impacted the world with positivity. And so that's the path that I am on and would like to remain on.
Are you nervous about the reaction, just touching on what you just said, are you nervous about the reaction that you're going to get from your church community when they now see you transitioning into a role that some people may feel is not appropriate for a pastor, appropriate for an evangelist?
I'm not nervous. I was at one point just anticipating it. I know it's going to come. So I'm not nervous about it. I have lived long enough to realize that you're going to have to make personal decisions in life. And everybody around you will not like your decision. But life is yours to live. And this is the path that the Lord has me on. And, you know, it's crazy how oftentimes we have a problem with folks because their life path is different from ours. You know, but that's what makes us unique. So this is just the path that I'm on. I'm not nervous at all about people misunderstanding what I'm doing. If they take the time to listen to the material that I'm putting out, then they'll realize that this is all good stuff, so to speak.
Describe your creative process.
In terms of what?
When you're making music, what's the process? Do you sit down? Do you be on the table for a couple of minutes until you hear something? What usually puts you in the mood to write? Or when does it normally come? Does it come at 3 o'clock in the morning? Does it come at 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Well, I write mostly at nights when everybody's settled in. I'll be up by myself and I write. As far as my creative process, I listen to a lot of instrumental. And so I listen to the instrumental and I'll put words on the instrumental. And I listen to a beat and I'll put words on it. And then I make a song from it. So that's my creative process. There are times when I have the words before I have the music. And then there's the next time that I have the music before I have the words. most of the time I have the music before the words because I'm a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm musically inclined. So I'll hear a bass line or a drum rhythm and want to put a song on it.
What instruments do you play?
I play the bass. I play drums. I fool around the keyboard, but the bass and the drums I play.
Do you have a favorite musician?
A favorite musician?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my favorite musician is my producer, Craig. Excellent musician. That's my favorite musician.
Okay. Why?
My favorite drummer is my son, Luke.
Tell us about Craig and tell us about Luke and why they're your favorite.
Well, Craig is just, the guy is just, I call him the beast. You know, musically, he's so inclined. And he's just very creative. So oftentimes when I write a song and I take it to my producer, he just takes the song to a whole different level. I've never presented him a song and feel like he has downplayed the song. Mm-hmm. He has always embellished it, always add more to it than I even saw in the beginning. So we work very well together. He's just a gift from God. Very excellent musician. He plays the bass, keyboard, drums. He plays it all.
I'm gonna read you something.
Okay.
This is just me right now. The best way to drive out a bad worldview is by offering a good one, which is like what you said. And Christians need to move beyond criticizing culture to creating culture. That is the task God originally created humans to do. And in the process of sanctification, we are meant to recover that task, whether we work with our brains or with our hands, whether we are analytical or artistic, whether we work with people or with things. In every calling, we are culture creators, offering up our work as service to God. So my question is, really, people put limitations on creativity and how far creativity can go in a spiritual aspect, in a godly aspect. But if you be honest, all creativity comes from God. The Bible says that the gifts of God are without repentance. So Beyonce has a gift.
Absolutely.
And she's using it not for the glory of God, for the glory of herself, but God gave her that gift and he's not taking it back.
Right.
Because that gift is his gift, it actually is making room for her and it's expansive. So as far as Christians are concerned, people who probably have an idea that their gifts can only be used as a preacher, as a church member, as a church choir leader. There's people who are talented in areas that are not necessarily churchy, but that's their gift.
Right.
And you may find yourself in places that are not necessarily religious or conventional, but it's a gift, and maybe the reason why you're there is because you're supposed to create something.
Right.
So you now find yourself in a position where you're creating, and music is all about the human experience. It's not just about church. It's not just about a message all the time. Sometimes it's about what's really going on, and sometimes what's going on is not beautiful. It's painful, it's ugly, it's offensive.
Brings awareness.
But it's the truth. And the point as an artist is to get someone to connect to your pain sometimes, because you don't realize that maybe your pain will stop them from killing themselves.
Right.
So how do you feel about everything that I said? And creativity as it relates to spirituality, as it relates to church, as it relates to, are there limits in your mind? Is there a place where you go too far? And will you ever start doing music that goes beyond a church, conventional church message? Are you willing to talk about your human experience, even if it's not necessarily religious?
Absolutely. I think that we're in a time that God is looking for living witnesses. And church, we grow accustomed to the ritualistic presentation of God from the standpoint of we preach Paul, we preach Peter, we preach John, but nobody preaches Philbert.
Right.
Philbert is the prophet that is alive. You know, like everybody else in the Bible is dead. You can't call Abraham to verify anything. The Bible is a book full of eulogy. Everybody that is there is dead, other than Jesus Christ, according to the word.
Right.
But now we have living witness, people that are alive in this time that God is using in different ways. My whole goal and drive and intention is just really to minister to humanity on the needs that affect our people, things that affect our people. Now, I believe that you know, we can't become so heavenly minded that we are no earthly good. And oftentimes, what really happens is that we get so zealous over the spiritual things that we minimize the importance of the physical things or the temporal things. But talking to people, counseling somebody through music about the temporal things in our life that affect us, our sociological club, our everyday things that we deal with, it's no less important than talking to them about the spiritual things, you know, because our job as individuals is to really evolve each other and in our entirety. My job is not just to evolve your spirit, but to evolve the entire man, which is body, soul, and spirit. So a lot of times we might minister, and the ministering might not necessarily be feeding the spirit particularly, but it is good influence for the physical man. You know, so absolutely. I wrote love songs. I write quite a few songs that are not just talking about crime and violence. I mean, I write about the human expression of love, feeling love towards a person. Different things.
Which one is more terrifying to you, death or failure?
Failure.
Why?
Because you don't know when you're dead. I haven't experienced being dead, if you may.
Mm-hmm.
Some time ago, I passed out. And it's the best way I can explain what death feels like. When I passed out, I didn't know that I stopped. When I came back, there was a chunk of time that was missing. I have absolutely no recollection of that window of time between me walking from my car to where I pass out. And so if I never came back, I wouldn't have known that I passed out, because there's no pain in death. You know, people don't, when you die, death doesn't hurt. There's no pain in it. When you die, and you literally die. So for me, that was a death experience. If I never came back, I wouldn't have known that I died. It just stopped. Time had just stopped.
Could it have been that when you passed out, it wasn't your time yet? You weren't supposed to go. That's why you came back. So you were in transition.
People say that.
Hypothetically speaking.
People say that.
You were in transition, let's just say that. So do you think that there would have been a place, if you actually did pass, that your consciousness would have come back alive and you would have realized that
I passed?
That you passed.
No.
But before then,
I don't think so.
What terrifies you so much about failure? Because like you said, if you did die, then there's nothing to fear. We don't know. We can't speak about something we don't know beyond. But living here and failing.
Well, for me, life requires a strategy. There has to be a plan. How am I going to live? There's a thing called cost of living. Mm-hmm. It costs to be alive. It's expensive to be alive. So just to be alive requires that you have a plan for at least the basic. How am I going to stay alive, feed myself, have the basic needs and necessities that I need in life? I fear failure from the standpoint of I shoot to put my best in anything that I do. And my drive is to succeed, not just for my sake, but for my children's sake. So I fear failure as a father, because I believe if I fail to turn things around, then I'm going to pass on a legacy to my children that they will have to fight to turn things around. My perception of fathering, or my life, is that my life should cause my children's life to be easier than my life was. Make sense? So from that perspective, I'm afraid to fail.
Okay.
I don't want to fail because I don't want my children
to leave something
to have to deal with the failures of their father.
How has being a father changed you?
It has changed me tremendously. I love my kids to death. I mean, they're the only thing that I could look at and see myself. You know, my kids are my world. It has changed me very much for the better. It's a very strong gravity to help you to be focused and to try not to. A lot of times when you want to be crazy, it helps me not to be crazy because I have children. So it has definitely been
So they keep you in check.
They keep you in check. You live for your kids. You know, I mean, it could just be as basic as taking a drive to Miami. I might drive different if my children are in the car. You know, comparison to me being on a rush if I'm on my own. Mm-hmm. So it does put that margin there where oftentimes the awareness of your children cause you to operate different.
You said that one of the things that scare you about failing is letting down or not leaving a legacy for your children. Is that your biggest fear concerning your children, or do you have a fear bigger when it comes to your children?
No, I don't have a fear bigger when it comes to my children. It's not, I don't know if I want to call it a fear, but if you ask me if I do fear death or failure, I would have to say failure, because death you don't have to deal with. Failure you deal with. You live in your failure. After you fail, you're here to deal with it.
Right.
While, you know, the man that is dead is gone. You know.
Would you consider pride your strength or your weakness?
Pride?
Mm-hmm. At this point in your life, based on who you are right now?
I think pride can be both. It's just a matter of how it's balanced and properly equalized. You do need a level of pride to be strong, but then too much pride becomes a destruction. So with pride, it's just that ingredient that has to be properly balanced. You don't want to become a Lucifer, but at the same time, you need to know your value, but it shouldn't get to you and turn you into a Lucifer.
In your life, has pride become your strength or your weakness?
I have seen pride has become my weakness before. At this point of my life, I think I'm taking pride as strength. But I have been there as a young man where pride caused me to have a fall.
Can you explain? Can you give us an example?
Well, just it was a different time in my life, and oftentimes being gifted and immature is like a recipe for disaster. So there was a time when, you know, as there's an anointing on my life or there's a gift that is on my life, there's a time in me not properly understanding who I am, my identity. I would operate in a certain way, thinking I know who I am, but I really didn't. So, you know, I find myself in places before that were not very pleasant as a result of my stupid pride, and I've learned from it.
What's the last movie you watched?
The last movie I watched was yesterday. It was Nemo.
You watched Nemo? Did you watch it by yourself?
No, I was watching it with my daughter.
Okay. And I think I've heard you talk about Nemo before. It seems like you really like that movie.
Kids love Nemo. It's a very good cartoon.
Do you like it as well?
I love it. I love watching movies with my kids.
So what did you learn from Nemo when you were watching it?
I learned quite a few stuff. I learned when your dad tell you not to touch the boat, don't touch the boat. I learned if you don't listen to your father, you're going to find yourself in trouble. But most of all, you know, the cartoon really shows a father's love. And I love the fact that it was a father that was hunting for his child and not a mother, which is typical.
Right.
You know, what you would find. This is a father that is really searching for his child, and just a father that just decided to search his entire world for his kid because of how much he loves his kid. I love it. I love cartoons.
Tell me about your father and his love, and how his love and support and how his influence has shaped your life.
My father is a very lovable person. His influence has absolutely shaped my life in a very positive way. I don't see my dad as a typical Jamaican man. He's a very affectionate person. He's not afraid to tell us as his children that he loves us. He has never been one that is afraid or hide his love from us. A lot of fathers are not like that. A lot of fathers are not affectionate. They're not into hugging their kids, kissing their kids, telling them they love them. My father is quite the opposite. Mm-hmm. You know, he has 6 of us, and we had a very humble growing up. You know, we had a very humble life, but we never had questions about our parents. You know, we maybe didn't have food, we maybe didn't have dinner, we maybe didn't have breakfast, but we had mom and dad. So I was raised in a very, very close-knitted family. My mom and dad is still together after some 46 years of marriage. So he's a very great example and a very strong influence to me.
Do you use your parents' relationship as a marker for yourself as far as how you want your relationships to, your romantic relationships to go? What do you pull from them as far as lessons? Okay, I like this aspect, but when I'm in my own, I want to do something different. What have you gained?
I do use my parents' relationship as a point of reference to my own. I try to be the kind of dad that my father was with us. You know, the way that he was affectionate with us, the way that he played with us. He's jovial. He laughs with us. We never had a dad that when he comes home, we run into a corner and we get scared because daddy's going to kill us. You know, it was quite the opposite. So I always wanted my children to have that type of relationship with me. And from an intimate standpoint, I really learned to treat my woman a certain way as a result of seeing my dad, how my dad treats my mom. Like, I've never, in 40 years, I've never witnessed a verbal abuse conversation between my parents. In 40 years, I've never seen my dad talk to my mom to the point where us as children got nervous, think maybe he's gonna hit her. I've never seen my mom charge at my dad. I've never heard her call my dad name. I've never heard my dad swear. I've never heard my dad use a curse word. Till this day.
Wow.
So, pray for me, Daddy. But yeah, you know, so, I mean, he's just a very great example of a father. Very great spiritual leader. Pastor, entrepreneur. Loves people, very ambitious. He puts a certain level of pride and ambition into us as his children. There's nothing too high for us. There's nothing that we can't reach. He never makes us feel as if anything is unreachable or there's, you know, it's too high for you to acquire. So as a dad, he has really, really impacted my life.
Do you
very
look
much so.
for a piece of your mother in the women that you've chosen to love?
Well, I do look for a piece of my mother. I guess when I was crazy and running around, I should have been thinking that harder. But for a person that I choose to settle with, I do look for characteristics that I've seen in my mom. My mom is a great woman. When you talk about being submissive, respectful, the way she handled my dad, the way she handled us as children, her affectionate side, her stern side, the way she talked to us, the way she rebuked us. Even in rebuke, she's never abusive. You know, she never called us a name, never put us down. Love her husband, love her children, faithful to the family. She's just a remarkable woman. So absolutely, I could say that.
Describe your soul.
My soul? My soul. How do I describe my soul?
Honestly, please.
Let me try to describe my soul as honest as possible. I'm a deep thinker. I think deep into everything.
Hold on. Before I have you describe it, in your words, what is the soul?
The soul is where your emotions sit. That's my explanation of the soul. So my body, soul, spirit. Body, physicality. Spirit, personality. My soul is my emotions. So if I'm angry, my soul is angry. That's the emotion I'm feeling in my soul.
So tell me about your soul.
My soul, I would describe my soul as being a happy soul. For the most part, I'm a happy person. Always up for a good time, always up for laugh and talk, and I love people. I have an addiction to people. I really do love people. I do love people. So I get along very well with almost anybody that I'm around. I get along with. It doesn't matter how difficult the personality is. If I have to get along with them, I could deal with them. And then, of course, being trained from a pastoral side also helps with that. I want to see people strive. My sole desire is to see everyone around me maximize to their full potential. And that would be the word I would use to describe my soul.
What about passionate? Would you use passionate?
Extremely passionate. I'm very passionate. I'm passionate.
You could say that your soul is a container. At least I think so. You could say your soul is a container for your experiences. It's where you hold painful memories. It's where you hold happy experiences. It's where you hold profound things.
True.
How does your soul handle guilt?
How does my soul
handle guilt?
Handle guilt? When it comes to handling guilt, I whip myself a lot. I'm not very good with guilt. That's why I don't like failing, because when I fail, I beat myself. You know, I whip myself a lot. Guilt is something that it caused me to be docile. If I'm guilty of something, I'll become more submissive, so to speak. When I'm wrong, I try not to be strong. So if I feel like I'm guilty, I feel like I have to undo it or amend it or make it right in some way.
Are you good at forgiving yourself?
No, I'm better at forgiving others than I am at forgiving myself. But I've struggled over the years with self-forgiveness, and I've come a far way, forgiving myself a lot.
Explain your heart.
Philbert Bailey's heart is a very big heart. If I am able to, I would feed the entire world. I want to see people strive. I want to see people live better. I want to see the crime rate subside. I want to see the homeless being sheltered. I want to see the fatherless being taken care of. I want to see widows and those that are less fortunate to be assisted in some way, shape, or form. I love people. I believe that if we live our life without impacting the people around us, then our life was in vain. I don't want people coming to my funeral telling a lie for my eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be able to genuinely say, this guy was a very great person and was a great person to be around.
Explain Roger's heart.
Roger's heart is I just want to I want to see the best of everybody. I want to evolve, and I want to see the people around me evolving, and this is where my own passion come from for writing music, because I believe through music then I am able to share my heart and inspire others to feel the same things I'm feeling.
How do the people in your life know that you love them?
How do they know that I love them? I am very expressive. I'm not afraid to show love.
How do you show love?
Many different ways. If I love a person, they'll know.
Can you give us some examples?
Well, it depends. It depends whether it is eros love, filial love. It depends on whether it's an intimate love or a platonic love. But I do show love in different ways. But one thing, if I do love a person, they're going to know that I love them. If I don't like a person, which I do have people I don't like, if I don't like a person, they're going to know. Because I'm not very good at being hypocritical.
How do you show love to your children?
Kissing them to death, cuddling them, expressing myself to them, letting them know that I love them. Having that close relationship with them where they feel as if it doesn't matter what they find themselves in, they could always come to daddy. I want my girls to always know that home is always home. And it doesn't matter where you find yourself. If you ever find yourself in a bad relationship, you could come back home to daddy.
How do you show love to your spouse?
I show love to my spouse by caring, being around, doing the things that I ought to do to the best of my ability, being submissive when I need to, compromise when I do need to, being affectionate openly, not just having affectionate thoughts towards you, but actually being affectionate towards you and having you realize that I do have a certain caliber of love for you.
How will your future benefit from your past?
How will my future benefit from my past? I believe that there are things in my past that absolutely will be instrumental in navigating me on this path that I'm taking. A lot of time as a counselor, you'll do a better job counseling when you're counseling from experience and not from just some theory that you learn in some college. So I learned how to process both good and negative things in my life and pull the positive substance out of them that I can use to catapult somebody else futuristically. So the things that are in my past that are negative, that I'm ashamed of, I oftentimes open them up and expose them to people that I care about to make sure that they could see the mistake that I made so they won't find themselves in it. A lot of people just want to show their triumph. I love showing both. Don't do this because this is what happened to me when I did it. So that's how I think my past will impact my future. Positive.
What haunts you?
What haunts me? Not being able to have the best relationship with my children I would love to have. That's what haunts me.
Is that the only thing that haunts you?
That's the thing that haunts me the most.
What frustrates you?
Not being able to have the best relationship with my children I would want to have. What frustrates me? I'm not a very patient person. People say, I guess I might say that myself. But I get things done. I'm straight to the point. I know what I want. I explain it.
So indecisiveness frustrates you?
Indecisiveness frustrates me. It's like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. If we're not going to do it, we're not going to do it. I don't want to be like this with you. It's just, so that gets me. It's fine.
So I want to play a game with you.
Okay.
A word association game.
Word association.
I'm going to say a word and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
When I say it. Riverton.
Riverton. Poverty.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Family.
Intimacy.
Intimacy. Consistently.
Love language.
Love language. I would say actions.
Bible.
Bible. What comes to me when you say Bible? God, the love of God.
Redemption.
Redemption, believe it or not, Bob Marley pops in my head when you say that because of the Redemption song.
Dad.
Dad, Philbert Bailey.
Mom.
Millicent Maureen Bailey.
Divorce.
Divorce, ex-wife.
Tell me what it was like growing up in Riverton.
What was it like growing up in Riverton City? Riverton City, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun growing up in Riverton. I enjoyed my childhood. I had friends, and when you're living in it, it's not, when you're living in that matrix, it's not something that you're in it.
Right.
You know, you have become institutionalized, if you may.
Right.
You know, based on the community.
Right.
So I have lived in it. I have seen people at their lowest, and I have a very humble beginning. I know what it is to live in a cardboard house with zinc roofs, and we take the drum pan and we chop the drums and we beat them out with hammer, and we make fence and we sweep the floor and make it hard, and you know, having nothing to eat many days, have you know, just many nights sleeping out, hustling to get home, struggling. You know, it was a tough life. But again, I have to thank God for my parents.
What part of Riverton is still with you now?
What part of Riverton is still with me? Riverton is still with me because I have this compassion for people that are struggling. And that's because I know what it is to go to bed without dinner.
Right.
I know what it is to don't have a pair of shoes as a child. I know what it is to not go to school because I didn't have them. My parents couldn't afford it. I know what it is to not have breakfast, not have dinner. I know what it is for people to look at you funny, you know, turn up their face at you because, you know, your parents don't have it and you're of this caliber. I know what it is to wear pants that is way up above my ankle, you know, because we don't have that. We didn't have it. But I have never been arrested. I've never got arrested for theft. I've never found myself in any crazy stuff because as a result of the situations I'm in and the peer pressure that I face. I mean, I went to school. I've you know, dealt with the same peer pressure that a lot of these young people dealt with. But again, I must honestly say, my parents' parenting skills played a great role in helping us to remain focused.
Coming back to the music, do you want to be labeled as a Christian artist?
No, I'm not a Christian artist.
Can you explain?
I'm not a Christian artist because the people that I want to counsel through my music, they don't buy Christian music. So if you put Christian on a CD, they're not going to buy it. Hence, I'm wasting my time. I want the people that are doing the shooting and the killing to listen to what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You know, so if I brand or label my music as gospel music, they don't listen to gospel. So I don't want to be brand as a gospel artist because I'm not a gospel artist.
So the title of the program is called Earthly Good, and the concept behind that is that I think today that some people are forgetting that while we are spiritual Christian people, we live in a physical world.
Right.
We have physical experiences. While you experience God on a spiritual aspect, you live in a physical environment where you have to experience people, and your experience of God is through people.
Right.
So there's a saying that you quoted that says that you can't be so heavenly minded that you become no earthly good. So my last question for you today is, what will be, or what do you intend to be, your earthly good?
My earthly good, I intend for my earthly good to be a legacy of wisdom that the public receive from me. If I have a platform, I oftentimes ask myself, if I have a platform where there are thousands of people listening to me, what would I want to say to them? And so I believe that words are very powerful. As we see in the book of Genesis, God utilized words to create the entire globe. So words are not just wind, as we oftentimes say. I believe before a person opens their mouth, they should ask the question, what am I about to create with my words? So I want to leave a trail of positivity. I want young men to understand you don't have to die by a bullet. You don't have to die by a knife. I want other young men that was raised in the inner city, just like myself. I was raised in Riverton City, cut out of bed. I want people to realize that Jesus came from Nazareth. Nazareth is a hood, if you may. You know, that's why the question was asked, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? Because Nazareth is as ghetto as it gets. But Jesus came out of it. And look at Jesus. So I believe that you can come out of the ghetto. You can come out of the hood and not be a product of that particular society, if you may. And that is the strongest inspiration I would like to drive the young men, that it doesn't matter the level of life that you're on today, with the right mindset, that's not permanent.
Well, we want to thank you today for being a part of our program and being open and giving us a chance to get into.
Thank you so very much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I
enjoyed it very much.
And we hope that you'll let us interview again when you go further in your career.
I absolutely will.
When you get that Grammy and you come back.
I absolutely will. As soon as they give me the Grammy, I'm going to be right here. No early good.
All right. Thank you, Philbert.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you, Keisha.
I've made my decision. Baby girl, it's you. You already know. My baby.